In fact, the idea that when we talk about Old versus New Testament, well, what is the Old Testament? The Old Testament really is Moses. Abraham's not part of the Old Testament. Abraham is pre-Mosaic Testament. Abraham's pre-law. And everything about Abraham applies to us today. Book of Hebrews makes that point. Book of Galatians makes that point. So I think we just tend to throw out everything before Matthew and focus in on this lawless gospel, and agree with everything I've just heard Trevor say, but lawlessness is also a problem. The Antichrist is referred to as the man of lawlessness. So there's got to be a balance in here. And we've got to find that balance, but ultimately we've got to lift up Jesus.
Trevor, there are Hebrew root outfits and messianic organizations, and I'm quoting you now, that are within the pale of orthodoxy. In other words, no way are they a cult. They're not even off base that much. Okay, talk to us about what makes them in the pale of orthodoxy.
Yes, so there's specific things really that the Hebrew roots can go off on into a wrong direction, one of which is mandatory Torah observance for salvation. Meaning, so for example, if you don't keep the Sabbath and you don't keep the dietary laws, you're not saved. There's an issue with that scripturally. Also, the teaching of sacred name. Sacred name says that you have to pronounce the Lord's name in a specific way, or you can't say Jesus. They say that that was a pagan corruption.
Can I just say that does this not illustrate some of the legalism that's involved in this movement? When
sure.
You can't even, if you don't say the name properly, you might not be saved. This is such hyper-legalism. This is part of what's scaring people.
Correct, and not all of them adhere to this either. So it's one of these things. There's also the idea of like a two-house type of a congregation. And two-house really teaches that the only people that are saved are Jewish. They're either from the northern tribe of Israel or the southern tribe of Judah, and those would be the Jewish people. And any Christian who's accepted this would be actually of the northern tribe, and it kind of dismisses the importance of Jewish people altogether. So there's these different type of teachings that you, like what you said, are hyper legalistic. But the one thing, Jan, that we do have to remember is it would be legalism when my personal conviction becomes your obligation. That's truly where the legalism occurs. And in the same way, if somebody wanted to celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday, that's fine. And so it would be a form of legalism for us to tell them they can't do that, but it's also a form of legalism when they tell us that we have to.
Pastor Greg Stone, can you tell me something healthy that's coming from this so-called Hebrew roots movement, Jewish roots movement? What do you feel is coming from it that's healthy?
I liken back to the example of water baptism. Why do we get water baptized? We get water baptized because we want to enter into the experience of the Lord. We want to do something that He did. He was water baptized so that He could identify with us. We're water baptized so we could identify with Him. And so, similarly, why would I participate in a Passover? Because it's something He did. I get to walk in His shoes. Am I not saved if I don't get water baptized? Of course I can be saved if I don't get water baptized. That would be legalism, to say you must be water baptized or you're not going to heaven. Well, you can treat Passover the same way. You must not. Either way, that becomes legalism. I want to worship Jesus.
But how is this healthy? How is that? What I want to know is what is healthy that's coming out of this movement? Why is that healthy?
Well, I want to be like Jesus.
Okay.
Why is it healthy to be water baptized?
Okay, because you want to be like Jesus.
I want to be like Jesus.